Recognize and welcome Mrs. Linda Zippo, President and CEO of the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. We've worked very closely together over many years. I appreciate your testimony. I appreciate you being here today. The Employee Retention Tax Credit was vital to keeping America's small businesses and nonprofits afloat during the pandemic. This relief was especially crucial in New Jersey, where the virus struck early. Our state's nonprofits worked tirelessly on the front lines of pandemic response and recovery. We all want to ensure the ERTC gets out the door to employers who need it most. But we need to get to the heart of the issue: resources. Decades of attempts to sabotage and destroy the IRS's ability to serve taxpayers and enforce the law. That's what we got to get to. And I'm committed to get to it. The historic funding enacted by Democrats has revitalized the IRS. Get the picture that the other side has given us of the IRS. They got guns at our doors. Give us your money. While we're reduced by 80,000 employees, and we were almost successful in getting rid of more. Americans are finally getting their calls answered by the IRS. That's good news, right? Wrong? And their refund checks on time. That's either true or false. I want to remind people, every Republican in Congress voted against making tax time easier. Every one of them. Good friends on the other side, but they voted against this. Why would you vote against that? Making taxes easier to lawfully bring into the Treasury. Like the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. Thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, this filing season was one of our most successful in years. Believe it or not. Under fresh leadership, the IRS has made enormous progress. Call wait times were slashed to under 5 minutes. It may not seem very important in this dreadful movements of life we have day to day. The backlog of returns was finally cleared. Now the IRS is using the same playbook to tackle ERTC claims. In the past 2 months, we have seen nearly 500,000 refunds processed. That's pretty amazing when you've seen what the IRS had to put up with 6 years prior and what they were doing with the least amount of resources they had per population. 99% of claims are now less than 3 months old. Most ERTC claims are filed on paper and processed by hand. So the IRS wisely directed IRA funding towards electronic filing and automated processing. Bringing tax administration into the 21st century means quicker refunds, fewer errors. We know bad actors target the ERTC. We know that. We can't deny that. The record will show it. The IRS is already sinking criminal charges and recovering billions in stolen money. With the backlog cleared, the IRS is redoubling these efforts with additional auditors. Wealthy tax cheats have operated with impunity for years under Democratic and Republican administrations. Look at the numbers. How could you conclude anything else? Thanks to the IRA, the IRS is finally able to pursue fair enforcement by collecting what they owe. A fair tax system. You've talked about it, Mr. Chairman. I talk myself to sleep about it every day. If we don't have fair tax collections, we do not have enough money in revenue, and then we got to talk about taxing people for what they should not be taxed for. Now, that may be an oversimplification. Check the records. Every dollar spent on enforcement pays for itself and then some. There are some who continue to try and gut these efforts. They will not be successful. Some of you on the other side of the aisle, my good friends, even risked economic catastrophe to erase funds to audit wealthy tax cheats, for heaven's sakes. It's a fact. Why deny it? Why say that's not as important as? The sabotage risks our progress toward a functional tax system. It undermines the very efforts we're discussing in administrating the ERTC. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Pascrell. And to the overall committee chairman, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Chairman Schweikert and Ranking Member Pascrell, for holding this hearing on the Employee Retention